Have you ever read a poem or a story and felt like something magical was happening? Words were doing more than just telling a tale. They were painting pictures in your mind and stirring up emotions within you. This magic is the work of poetic devices. These tools are used by writers to make their words come alive. They add depth and beauty to the writing. Understanding these devices can make reading much more enjoyable. Let's start with personification. This is when we give human qualities to something that isn't human. It could be an animal, an object, or even an idea. Think about the phrase, "the house sat on the crest of the hill." Houses can't sit like people do. Yet using this phrase makes the house seem alive. It gives us a sense of its position and maybe even its personality. Another example is the field promised a good harvest. Fields can't make promises. However, this phrase gives us a feeling of hope and anticipation, as if the field is a living thing capable of providing for us. Next, we have metaphors. These are like secret tunnels connecting two different ideas. A metaphor states that one thing, another thing. It doesn't use words like, or, as. For example, imagine a character receiving their first paycheck. We might read, "He held his new coins, his heart brimming with pride." The coins aren't literally pride, of course. However, the metaphor helps us understand how much those coins mean to the character. They represent success and accomplishment. Another example could be a curtain of rain separated the two friends. Rain isn't literally a curtain, but this metaphor helps us visualize the rain as a heavy, impenetrable barrier between the friends, perhaps symbolizing a rift in their relationship. Similes are like metaphors, but they use the words like or as to make the comparison. They're fantastic for creating vivid images in the reader's mind. Take the sentence, "The field was white, as if covered with salt." We know that a field isn't actually covered in salt. The simile helps us see just how white the field is by comparing it to something we know is white. It could be snow covering the field, or perhaps even frost. Section 5. Inversion, enjambment, and symbolism beyond the surface. There are many other poetic devices that writers use, each with its own special effect. Inversion is when the usual order of words is reversed, often to place emphasis on a particular word or phrase. For example, instead of saying "the wind howled loudly," a poet might write "loudly howled the wind." Enjambment is when a line of poetry continues on to the next line without any punctuation. This can create a sense of flow and movement, or even mirror the feeling being described in the poem. Symbolism is when an object, person, or place represents something else, often something abstract like love, death, or hope. For example, a dove might symbolize peace, or a rose might symbolize love. Section 6. Poetic devices in action. Examples from First Flight. Now, let's look at some examples from your First Flight textbook. In Robert Frost's poem Dust of Snow, he uses a metaphor to compare snow to dust. This might seem like an odd comparison at first. However, it highlights how even something as small and seemingly insignificant as dust can have a profound impact. Just like the dust of snow changes the crow's mood, small things can change our outlook on life. In Fire and Ice, Frost uses symbolism to explore two contrasting forces of destruction. Fire represents desire and passion, while ice represents hatred and coldness. These simple elements take on a deeper meaning, representing the potential for both good and evil within humanity. In Leslie Norris's poem A Tiger in the Zoo, we see how the poet uses imagery and contrast to highlight the tiger's plight. The tiger is described as being powerful and burning bright, yet it's trapped within the confines of the zoo. This contrast emphasizes the tragedy of the tiger's situation and makes us sympathize with its longing for freedom. Why are these poetic devices so important? Well, they do much more than simply decorate the writing. They help to create a richer, more engaging experience for the reader. Imagine reading a story where everything was described in a very literal, straightforward way. It wouldn't be very interesting, would it? Poetic devices add layers of meaning and emotion. They help us to connect with the writing on a deeper level. Understanding poetic devices can also deepen our appreciation for literature. When we can recognize these devices and understand how they're being used, we can gain a greater understanding of the writer's craft. We can see how carefully they've chosen their words and how skillfully they've used language to create a particular effect. Section 9. Conclusion: the enduring power of poetry. Poetic devices are the tools that writers use to weave magic with their words. They bring their stories and poems to life, allowing us to experience a kaleidoscope of emotions and perspectives. So the next time you're reading a poem or a story, take some time to appreciate the way the language is being used. Look out for those metaphors, similes, and other devices and see how they enhance your understanding and enjoyment of the text. You might be surprised at what you discover.